Yo, what is up, everybody? It is Corey, the Jagginator Marco, back with another episode of the Dodcast, including a cat on this occasion. A special cat star who's being camera shy. We got to recap Solitude, right? Recap Solitude. Talk about Harrington. I was just having endless technical difficulties. My microphone wouldn't work. You know, maybe I should be checking to see if it's even the right microphone on here. It is. Wowee. Okay. And yeah, so we've got a frag of the week first off. It wasn't uploaded by the time I wanted to download it, so we're going to watch it via stream. Nice. It's got the full quality, made by Kaboom, which is good to see Chris back making anything. It's been a while since he's gotten to edit anything, so I'm excited to see this motherfucker. It might be very loud. I don't have my settings from home, so we're just playing with fire right now. A Raleigh action. I think we caught this on the stream too. Yagoon. Ho ho. My pistol loves Sean. My pistol hits Sean more than it hits anybody else for some reason. I don't know why. Matthew. Ho ho. Frags of the week. It's an AI generated song here. And I didn't even notice it until I heard Frags of the week. Bosch was insane in their game. Ridiculous. Oh yeah, I knew this clip was gonna have to be in here. Jesus. Alex. It's a song about solitude. Oh yeah. Oh. Jesus. Yeah. Good luck stopping Alex when he's there. Oh, Debo, who had 1,000,000 kills. Oh. Oh, I thought that was gonna hit. Oh, oh. Ooh. Nice. Oh. Jesus. War. Getting to be in someone else's frag of the week here. Oh. Andrew. Oh, that was a double. Ha ha. Oh. 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 Nice. Oh, nice. Kept waiting for someone to have that happen. Leo rigging for dice here. Nice. Oh, this is against us. Ooh, who was that? Ryan? Later. Frank. We definitely saw this one. Oh, ho, ho. Frank. Stamp. 1, 2. Well, you got 3 there? What the fuck? What a clip. Oh, yeah, here we go. Justin, the MVP of the week. It's making it look like he's always been a sniper here. Jesus. Oh, Jesus, PB. PB just picking up a sniper rifle, sniping for the week, casually going with like 76 and 30 something. The download link just came through if I would have waited 5 minutes. But to be fair, I'm already running 30 minutes behind the schedule. That is a day behind the schedule. That is a day behind the other schedule. So I just didn't wait. Because it is right now 11:15 p.m. I am tired, me new. Okay, so Solitude. It was an interesting week of matches for sure. There was a couple big upsets. There was a couple games that took place at the top of divisions that were going to dictate a lot of how things look going forth into the playoffs. So let's start bronze style here. How many bronze matches were there? I feel like there might have been one missing. 1, 2, no, there was all 3. Gold had 1, 2, 3. Maybe silver has a match that's yet to be played. If I can check. Postponed, yeah, okay. There's definitely a silver match missing, which is being played this week, I think. And then there's another match postponed there. Postponed, that still was like maybe getting played this week. This one I know is postponed, probably so both teams can definitely have their 6, because that's a big one, obviously. All right. So, bronze, we only got to cast the one game, which was No-Go Rodeo, which was dictating who was going to be first place on that side. We didn't get to see this game, and we didn't get to see Rifle Nades versus the Ninja. Uncle Rico's Time Machine versus the Wickeds. Uncle Rico wins 286-74. It's like a 212-point win. Pretty convincing W there for Uncle Rico. Allied side here for them starting off. They won by 170, 195-25, plus 26 on the kills. For the Wickeds, they actually had Zaps and Barinia playing this week. Zaps had 26. Bullet and Barinia both had 20. Jiraiya had 19. And then Ryan and AZ both had 17. But on the Uncle Rico's Time Machine side, where they made, I think, a smart swap here, classes-wise, going forward, where Cadaver getting on his natural class on the heavy, and G taking up the rifle side of things, taking one for the team there, getting off his all-time natural class so that Cadaver can be a little more comfortable, and I think it will pay off. I mean, right away, it looks like it's paying off with a big win like this. Ian top frag continuing to just become as elite as he was in the past as each week goes on. He had 33 on allies. Of course, ST Kevin had 28 with the bar, Cadaver with 24, Kevin with 22, and then G and Nick with 19 apiece. And then on the Axis side, they did win again, only by 42 this time, but plus 26 on the kills. Still a pretty dominant half there. For the Wickeds, Bullet, 27 kills, including that nice drop-in no-scope break we saw there, which I was waiting to see somebody do all week. And Bullet, of course, was the one to do it. Then Barinia, AZ, and Jiraiya all with 21. Zaps with 19. Ryan with 18. And on Uncle Rico's Time Machine side, once again, Ian Gilmore, 35 kills. He ended up with 68 overall, which is huge. He's just going to keep getting more and more comfortable as the weeks go on. If he's not already there at this point, I didn't get to see this game, so I can't say, he wasn't missing or whatever, but he had 68 kills. Kevin and Nick both had 30 and 17 for Nick on the sniper there. Cadaver, 21, G with 21, and Stark with 16. But most importantly for Uncle Rico's Time Machine, another one in the win column in a hotly contested bronze division, as all the divisions are looking this season. And speaking of bronze, Rifle Nades taking out the Ninja there, 171-146. The lineups were kind of weird here because Kush was playing in this game, and I swear this game, the game after this was the no-go game, and then Kush couldn't play in his own team's game, but he did get to play in another team's game, which was super weird. I saw this after the fact and was like, wait, is Kush playing there, but he didn't play for no-go? So I'm curious what happened there, but on the Rifle Nade side, coming out with the dub to Ninja, fielding a pretty fun 6 here with the Vanscap guys back in the mix, which is cool to see. Manuk and Ant and Mizgif, and then Low Carb also being back around, and Raven making his debut for this team. Illusion was in the lineup, so Ninja should only be looking up going forward here. Close loss in the first game where they're repping this lineup, but they will be better from here, I guarantee it. So this half, 135-73 for Rifle Nades. What's that, like a 62-point win, plus 11, it looks like, on the kills. So, the Ninja's side of things, Illusion with 31, of course. Raven, 28 and 17. Great debut for him. Brett immediately gets 26 to third top frag. Then Miz and Ant had 21. Manuk with 13. And on the Rifle Nade side, 31 for Azilla, of course, continuing to be one of the best players. 29 for Cushy ringing there. I mean, Rifle Nades was clearly missing a few guys. You don't see Arachnid here. Virus X got in there to get to snipe. Did a pretty good job in his first action of the season. Pipes back in the mix as well, and he immediately had a big game here, I believe. So 31 for Azilla, 29 for Kush, 27 for Chrono, of course, 25 for Pipes, 24 for Firo, 15 for Virus, and then Axis side here for Rifle Nades. This half, Allies, the Ninja do win. 73 to 36, plus 37 there. Kills by 5. Illusion at 42 in this half. Just a ridiculous half for him. He had, how many was it overall? 73, was it? Where'd he go? Oh, fuck. I keep clicking all the wrong shit. 73. 73 kills for Illusion. That's what you expect from him when he's in the lineup. 24 for Raven in second. Then Manuk with 22, a better half there. Miz and Brett with 21. Ant with 20. And on the Rifle Nade side, Pipes, 35 kills on the Stas. Just what a half for him in his first game back this in a couple seasons, I think, at least. Immediately coming out and making impact. Firo had 33, Azilla had 30, Chrono with 27, Virus with 20, and then Kush looks like he lagged out at some point. I mean, maybe whatever led to him, lagging out or disconnecting here is the reason he couldn't play in the no-go game too. I'm just going to assume that because that makes the most sense. This would have been right at the end, right before the no-go game was going to be getting ready to go. So that adds up. But yeah, Rifle Nades get the dub. But for the Ninja, I mean, a really close game. And their lineup now should be as good as it's going to get here. I expect this team to just be more and more problematic for everyone else in the division as the season goes onward from here. And then last game in the Bronze division, it was No-Go versus Rodeo. This was for first place as it stands right now. Rodeo, did have the tiebreaker. Now it would come down to head-to-head stuff, but it doesn't matter because No-Go only with 1 loss, Rodeo with 2 after this one because No-Go took the dub by 54 here. I imagine that they technically would have the tiebreaker even if it was tied because I think Rodeo won a closer game than this on Lennon. And then obviously Rodeo also lost to Uncle Rico's Time Machine. So in this game, there was a few things that were interesting. You had Blue Revolver returning to the sniper rifle, which was really cool to see. It was like riding a bike for him. I think at one point on Allied side, it was like fucking 24 and 3 or something. Like it just was ridiculous. Maybe he's just not sniping in order to make it fair for everybody else. So this half, it was tied. Now, there was a whole thing with the config in this game where the teams used the wrong config in the first half, so then they'd use the same config, the same wrong config for the second half, and then the config that got exec did not list the same, but it turned out that it was wrong, at least in a way that was the same as the first one. So it ended up being fine in the end. I'm sure it wouldn't have resulted in a different result in this game either way, but yeah, tied first half here, but plus 29 on the kills for No-Go, and a tie half. That is crazy. 77 and then 29 kill difference. On the Rodeo side, Nick E-Man had a really, really good game here overall. 29 kills on Allies to lead the way. 27 for Lasik. He too was doing a good job over on the underpass side of things. 24 apiece for Snipies and Meep. CK with 23 and Grunt with 15. And on the No-Go side, Bosch, who maybe going to end up being the pickup of the season in all of KTP this season. That was a very under-the-radar pickup that I don't think a lot of people talked about, but if you know who Bosch is, you knew he was going to come in and be a difference maker. Maybe you didn't think it would be quite as fast, but he immediately has stepped in and pretty much been top fragging week in and week out as he's gotten to play for No-Go here. This was no different. Car Garaning, he had 33 with the car, 30 on Jamie on the Stas, and then you had a clump of guys that all had basically the same amount of kills. Blue Revolver, 28 and 18, Three-sided quarter getting to heavy, had a very good game getting to heavy there, 27 for him. Spoon with 27 on the other heavy, Coy with 26. And then the second half, No-Go pulls away on the Allied side here. They actually outfragged by even more this side, plus 43. It's a testament to Rodeo that they were even able to have this game be as close as it was. Because when you look at the kills, you would think that this was an absolute shellacking. But Rodeo made it interesting right up until the end. CK had 41 kills, of course. Axis side Solitude, that's what you're going to get out of CK. Guaranteed. 24 for Sir Snipies, 22 for Grunt, 20 for Lasik, 19 for Nick, and 14 for Meep. And then on the No-Go side, Bosch, 41 and 26. He had 74 kills overall. The clear MVP here. You saw the clips in the frag of the week. The shots he was hitting were just gross. Just like shooting guys through corners, pre-firing guys, making it look fucking easy. Greg also had 34 on the bar, three-sided quarter with 32 on the bar. I'm sure it was super fun for him getting to not have to snipe. And then I'm sure it was super fun for Blue Revolver getting to snipe, as he almost had a 3-to-1 KD ratio at 32 and 11. Coy with 20, and No-Go taking sole position at first place in the bronze division. There's obviously still some weeks left in the season, but as it stands right now, they control their destiny because everyone else has more loss than them. If they win out, there's no way anyone can catch them. Rodeo is right there with 2 losses. Rifle Nades and Uncle Rico's both have 2 losses. So if No-Go were to lose again, then technically anybody could end up in first place here. There's 3 other teams that could easily catch them if they win out. And obviously one of them would probably be the one beating No-Go in that case. So we'll see what happens on the bronze side of things. It's all 3 divisions are fucking crazy this season, to be honest. All right, moving right along, because I'm trying to not be doing this until 1:30 in the morning like I would be if it takes as long as I normally take. Silver side. So first off, Clinic versus Emo Frag Squad, and Clinic ran away with this guy here, 309 to 44. Clinic. The big story here was, of course, Debo, who had basically 100 kills. I mean, he had, 88 kills, 52 on Axis, and I believe he doubled anyone else in the server, basically. Let's see. On Allied side here, he had 36. 28 for Scott, 26 for Vic, 26 for Sam, 21 for Insom, 19 for Tom. On the Emo side, 26 for Matt, 25 for J-Rod, 24 for Steve, 22 for Ian, 18 for Apple, 13 for Saf. Emo Frag Squad making an adjustment this week, moving Steve to the sniper and Ian on the rifle, which I think is a good idea. Ian has impressed me on the rifle from what I've seen out of him so far. I had no idea he was capable of rifling. I've only ever known him to be a sniper. For Emo Frag Squad trying to fit the pieces together to get it figured out before playoffs, and I think that is a good move here. But on to the second half, 52 kills for Debo. 52 and 19 with the cars, just insane. I'd love to see, I can't even imagine. I'm assuming he was carring double cap, getting 52 kills. It's just like a steady stream of kills in 20 minutes, I would love to see how much of it was with nades, how many movie clips did he had? We saw some in the frag of the week, but with 52 kills, I'm sure he had a few. That's just a crazy half. Next closest is 35 on Insom, 30 on Scott, 25 for Vic, 21 for Sam, 18 for Tom. Nothing left for Tom to kill at that point. Just a hard carry game out of Debo here. On the rifle as well, going double cap. Not on the church side, which is where most of the time you see really, really crazy games out of rifles on this map. Unless you're CK, of course, going double cap. But in this case, Debo, 52 kills and 19 deaths. You're definitely not going to see CK do that. If he has 52 kills, he'll probably have 29 plus deaths. But here, 52 and 19 is just insane. And then for Emo, 30 on Matt Rogers there, having a good half. 27 and 24 for Ian, also with a good half there. J-Rod with 25. Apple with 16. Steve with 11. And Saf with 10. And yeah, just a massive win there for Clinic. A statement win. This lineup is a scary one right there, where you got Vic on a heavy. Wait, Scott was on the other heavy there. I didn't even notice that. Scott actually on the other heavy. So Sam, Insom, and Debo were rifling. Sam on the Stas. Okay, I actually had not even noticed that Scott was on the heavy there. So a really good game out of Scott heavying. You know, he's a rifle, and he basically had 60 kills total. That's impressive. Another guy playing a class that he's not necessarily known for and doing an excellent job there right off the bat. You love to see it. Really just huge out of Clinic. You know, it's Clinic, you know? Like, they, regardless of everything else going on in the division, you always have to look at them as being the team to beat. They are the original silver champs, undefeated. They very easily could have repeated when they got back there in season 3 as well, losing in a tough fucking 3-game set in the semifinals there. This team is no joke, and they will be there come, at very minimum, the semifinals. So everyone in silver needs to always mark that game down on the calendar, because it will always be you getting your stretch to your absolute limit. Next up in the silver division, as far as games I didn't get to cast, I didn't get any HLTV casts this week, by the way. So I was ready to do any, but there was problems with the people who did try to record. So yeah, there wasn't any delayed cast to do, which is why you didn't see me go live the next day and do casts like I was saying I was going to do. I just didn't get any to do. The closest thing I could have done was to stream Stamp's POV demo, which I was thinking about doing. If I had gotten an HLTV from another game, I probably would have just done it. But yeah, it would have been fun to do just as something new, but I wanted to make sure if I was going to do that, I also had another game to cast, and I didn't, and then it was Friday, and I had to get on a train, so here we are. But another big game here in silver, which is wide open. Clan X taking out Best Buds. Best Buds with a tough draw the last couple weeks after starting the season undefeated. Now they've lost to Clan X as well here by about 198 to be exact. Didn't get to see this game, but we can extrapolate from the screenshots here. First of all, on the Clan X side here, on Axis, winning by 22 and outfragging them by 52 kills is monstrous. Right off the bat, jumping off the screen, you see the baby goat there. Rafinha with 38, Nitrox on the Stas, which is, again, getting Storm back and that allowing Nitrox to go play on a rifle. Because, I mean, he's been a great sniper, but if you can have a guy who's going to do that same job and you can move Nitrox off to a rifle, that is just massive. And again, another guy who was a huge middle of the season pickup there. Nitrox gets 35, and then Storm 31 and 14, basically over a 2-to-1 KD there. Bud and Bitch X with 27, Matt with 18 on the Best Bud side, 25 for Hopper. We saw that crazy car shot he hit in the frag of the week. 24 for Nicholson Eats Ass. 22 for Petey, 21 for the Brom Bomb, 17 for War, 15 for Schick. And yeah, that's right. Best Buds had a little bit different lineup this week. Chicago Legend and Petey both getting in there, which I talked about in the last podcast anyways, but just to reiterate it now. And then second half, 95 to 19 here. The kills were much closer, 145 to 125, plus 20 for Clan X, but was it a bigger deficit? Yeah, in the actual score. On the Clan X side, Storm, 35 kills there, so he ends up with 66. He top frags. No, he didn't. Bless you. I take it back. The top frag was Rafinha. I'm an idiot because he had 38 first half, 30 second half, second top frag with the Grand. But you know when Rafinha's there, it's always going to be a different ball game, right? Like Clan X is stacked, but Rafinha is the centerpiece of this puzzle always. And that just makes it even scarier when you got to compete with this wonderkind every time you're peeking an angle on whatever route he's going. It is a scary thing to have to deal with. So yeah, 35 and 16 for Storm, over 2-to-1 again. 30 for Rafinha, 22 for Bitch X, 21 and 19 for Nitrox there. Again, getting Nitrox to be able to rifle is just huge. 19 for Matt, 18 for Bud, and then for Best Buds, 27 for War Within, and that ridiculous little clip in the frag of the week that he had. 26 for Nicholson Eats Ass, 24 for Hopper, 22 for Chicago Legend, 15 for Petey, 11 for the Brom Bomb, and Clan X with a massive, massive victory there. That puts them right there by themselves in first place, 5-1 now. Best Buds moves to 3-2. Clinic moved to 3-2. There's makeup games up the ass to be played. Band of Morons still with only one loss, so they're the closest ones to Clan X. And if I recall correctly, yes, the one loss on Clan X is Band of Morons, so they actually hold the tiebreaker there, which means if both teams manage to win out, Band of Morons will actually be in first place. But right now, 2 games in hand on Band of Morons. So there's a lot to be figured out there as it goes. We'll see what happens with that. The last game on the silver side of things was a game I got to cast. It was a crazy, crazy game. Revive taking down Game Violation Multi-Act by 41 here. We were so close to going to overtime, and I could be wrong, but I'm 90% sure that I predicted that this game would go to overtime in the Dodcast last week, and then it actually almost did. As time was basically expiring, No Name went insane once to single-handedly cap out to get them back in the game, because Revived was looking like they were going to run away with it, and then No Name goes on a crazy streak. I was hoping it would be in the frag of the week, but it wasn't. But you can go, I'm sure it's clipped on my Twitch channel. Go watch it. And then fast forwarding a little bit, it got to the point where they were going to need to cap out again. And then they couldn't get the double cap because Coffee was just being Coffee and not letting them get the double cap. He was doing such a good job in double cap of just making it miserable for GVMH to ever get. He was huge for them in this game. So eventually they flooded out double cap. They got it, but then they couldn't get the church. So the church was up for grabs. No Name goes and gets I think 9-10 kills in this streak all over the map. And right when he's getting the one, they're getting church, then they're losing double cap. So if it had just been they don't get the double cap and instead it's a cap out, that would have been 40 points minus the 1 from the double cap, and it would have been overtime, which would have been amazing. And would have been, as it is, it's single-handedly one of the craziest individual performances you'll ever see in a half of DOD here. What No Name did in this half, just go watch the cast, because he ends up with 46. He had 23 with, I think it was 7 minutes left. And then he just went on this insane streak to cap out, and then goes on this other insane streak and ends up with 46 kills. Just crazy. But first half, axe aside for the Revived, 128-51. They outfragged by 26 on the Revive side. 30 for SQ. He was outstanding in this game as well, of course, doing just ridiculous things. I especially like watching him because he reminds me of myself the way he plays. Anna with 29 on the other car. 27 for Super with a great game there. MP on the Sniper with 25. Manga with 23. And Coffee with 19 and 14. But every one of those kills was extremely important in just keeping double cap in the hands of Revive. That was the plan, and they worked it. On the GVMH side, Pijisku, again, just continuing to show he's better and better every week as he gets more and more comfortable at 1.3. He top frags here with 29 kills. Again, going up against that tough double cap side of things as well. 27 for Aki on the other bar. 26 for Hooli, continuing his run of great games this season. 20 for No Name. 9 for Sango. And then again, in the second half, GVMH does end up winning, but just by 1 less cap than they needed. The kills were plus 19 in their favor in this half. 31 for Super to lead the way for Revived. Then 27 for MP on the Sniper. 26 for SQ. 24 for Anna. 23 for Coffee overdoing the double cap job. And 18 for Manga. GVMH, 46 kills for No Name. I mean, if they had won this game, I'm telling you, that demo needed to have gone up onto the demo YouTube channel immediately as just hardest carry ever. I mean, Hooli and Raleigh have a bunch of kills between them there too, right? And we saw what Raleigh did in the frag of the week there, but No Name, the way that they got their caps and then almost the winning cap was him just going full Rambo mode. Just, I am going to go kill every player that I see throughout this entire map and get all the flags for my team until we win. It was just insane to watch. So 46 for him there, 34 and 22 for Hurley. This isn't lost. Hooli, 32 and 22 for Raleigh, 25 for Pijisku, 21 for Sango, 10 for Aki. A tough loss for GVMH. I mean, it looked like we were going to get to see an overtime in this game, which would have been the one way it could have gotten crazier. It was a very explosive, movie clippy kind of game across the board, but Revived in their debut under the Revive banner with the new lineup get the W, a huge win for them there. Standings wise now, they sit at 2 wins, 4 losses. Seedings come playoff time are relevant. How many teams are there here? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 9 teams. That's interesting. So that could mean a bye for the top seed, hypothetically. and then the bottom seed would have to play against one of, the 2 seed. So really, you need to get as high up as you can in this area, and that also gives them the tiebreaker on GVMH, which could end up paying off later. Although in this division, it's so stacked. Like, the difference between playing the 4 seed and the 3 seed is like you're either playing against Price is Right or Best Buds, or Price is Right or Clinic, or Best Buds or Clinic. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. All right. On to gold. We'll just start off with my game because I played in it. Thunder 148-93 for Icy Hot. A rematch of the old Solitude. We played each other, but it was very different lineups and everything, and obviously a different map because it was Solitude B2. So first half, we won by 8, which was kind of crazy. We capped out on this half like 3 minutes in, I think, and then we almost lose the half. So Icy Hot was up our asses for the majority of the rest of that first half. Frags were +2 in our favor. And yeah, it really came down to the wire there. It looked like we were going to get capped down a couple times throughout the course of this half. I know I had a moment where I had to kill a couple guys coming for the 1. It was very stressful, as it always is in these games with Icy Hot or G-Skill or Dice, etc. Just nothing comes easy getting wins in gold. But on our side, we had 27 for the 2 heavies there, Jules and Ryan Emo, 25 for Dorito, 22 for Tox, 21 for Yagoon, 18 for John Gale. On the Icy side, 32 for Justin Lynch with the bar and that ridiculous bar clip he had, 26 for Jesse, who was just making double cap really hard to ever get back once they had it. Like, he just played so well at the top in the double doors area, not over peaking, but not just kind of like dipping back and hiding where it's going to be pretty obvious you're in one of these like 3 spots and we can just nade him out. He did a really good job of varying things up in that area. 22 for Sean, 21 for Ben, 19 for Chi, 18 for Sick. And then in the second half, we were able to pull away a little bit more. We were able to hang on a double cap for most of the half for sure. The church side of things, Sean with 33 kills there, he made it very tough for us to get the church cap for a lot of the game. Once we did get it, we were able to at least press a little bit more. But we win the half 79-32, plus 33 in the kills. Sean with 33, as I said, having a great half on the car there. You saw the frag of the week clips. 25 for William, 21 for Justin, 23 for Jesse, 21 for Justin, 19 for Dan, 14 for Ben. And then on the Thunder side of things, we were all pretty closely clumped together there. You had 31 for Jules, 30 for John, 30 for Jared, 28 for Brian, 28 for me, and then 21 for Ryan. And obviously a huge win to get against Icy Hot. Anytime you can beat Icy Hot, it is massive. That helps us if we should end up in a tie, because now we beat them in both games, so we have the tiebreaker on them secured, which in gold, it's entirely possible that a bunch of teams are going to end up tied. So that was big, but GG to Icy Hot. Obviously, Jules and I played with them last season, well, like the majority of Icy Hot on TMC, so we love those guys. I'm sure we all would have rather played a different map, but, whatever. We had to play each other on Solitude. We got to play Lennon against each other at least earlier in the season, and I'm sure we'll be running into them in the playoffs again in a best of 3, and it'll be ridiculous, as it always is. Next up, a game that I did get to cast, we had G-Skill versus over here. G-Skill wins 228-97, about a 131-point win there. Allied side, plus 110 for G-Skill, plus 17 on the kills. For over, 35 on SC, 28 for Sokka, 23 for Caffrey, 21 for Kum, 19 for Devin, 18 for Mata. No Nightmare this week, which is always tough, but Mata did a good job filling in here, especially at a really good Allied side. On the G-Skill side, Andrew with 33, big half for him there, and the frag of the week clip. Same with Frank on 31, looked ridiculous on the fucking heavies, as you'd expect. 27 for Chuck. It shows him on the Tommy there, but he was just trying to get aggressive for a cap out. He was sniping. 26 for Colin, 22 apiece for Milo and Savage. And then Axis side, they end up winning by 21, much closer. Over, I really liked what I saw out of Over in this game. They seem to be a little bit more in control and not just like all out, run straight forward, never stop moving. Like I really like what I see. And if they continue to make those adjustments as the season goes on, that's very bad for the rest of Gold come best of threes in playoffs, because they are already so hard to put away in best of threes. They have a really good map pool for playoffs, especially because you're not going to be playing like Solitude and whatever. You're not going to be playing weird maps, right? You're going to be playing Lennon, Harrington, Anzio, Railroad. They have these maps in their back pocket. And if they are making adjustments to their aggression and just adding a little bit more stopping and thinking to the game, I mean, good luck to anybody that has to play them in BO3s. I was talking about it during the cast too. Like, they just looked so much more in control, which is great to see. Like, I want to see them succeed. So I was very pleased with that. Obviously, coming up short against G-Skill, it's G-Skill, but they hopefully aren't discouraged by that after the fact. For the overside, 37 kills for Caffrey, just ridiculous on the bar, all over the place. 29 for Devin, 26 for Mata, 25 apiece for Sokka and SC, and 17 for Kum. And then the big guy Milo with 38 on the STG, just going insane all over the place. Just an absolute menace to society on Axis side there. Franker had 30, 27 for Andrew, 23 for Colin, 20 for Savage, 17 for Chuck. G-Skill once again in the win column there by about 131. And then last but not least, Soul taking out Dice here by 3 points. This was a game I really wish we had an HLTV to cast because it was so close. I'm sure this was a butthole clencher right down to the bitter end, and a 3-point win for Soul, taking it against Dice here. A big, big win for Soul to get under their belt. For Dice, so they're missing Paul here. Dice, the last 3 matches they've played have been missing guys for all of them. They end up with Leo ringing here, and so Johnny was on the heavy, and Leo thirded. And we saw him get a clip as well there in the frag of the week, which is cool. But the big story of this game really was PB, right? And I was talking about this not that long ago, how a guy, I literally used PB as the example, which made it all the funnier. But I was talking about how you can put an insane mechanical player on a sniper rifle and they can just do this. Like, they can just hard carry, because for a lot of the snipers, like, we can be good at sniping, but a lot of it is the experience and the mental side of things. There's a lot of fucking games you play, little games within the game. And if you have a guy like Justin or a guy like Jules or a guy like Tox or Frank or whatever, who just pick up a sniper rifle for a game and decide they're going to go get 80 kills, there's not much that's going to stop them if they're on their game that day. And this was a perfect example of that, as PB went, what was it? 73 and 19 and 17. 73 and 36. So I'm pretty sure he top fragged just overall in the gold division, and also had over a 2-to-1 KD. I mean, just absurd. And against an insane team in Dice and an insane sniper in Kevin. Really was the perfect. I had used PB because I had just watched PB in a 12-man play on the sniper and get like 60-something kills on Allied side. So I brought this up in the Dodcast, and it just so happens that now Justin is the one who is a non-sniper picking up a sniper and having an insane game. How fitting. But I didn't get to see this game at all, so I have no idea what exactly went down. On the Dice side, Alex, 38, of course, he's going to get his. We saw that in the frag of the week, too. He's just absurd. One of the absolute cream of the crop elite players in the game. Johnny on that heavy, 31 and 27 with a good half there. Matt with 24 and some frag of the week clips. Kevin as well, we saw hit that crazy flick. Leia with 22. Chris with 16, lagging around, but it sounds like his internet is getting upgraded soon, which is really good news for Chris, because as somebody currently in Canada being held hostage on bad internet, I know how tough it is to play on bad internet. It's very difficile. Très difficile. Oui, je suis. I hate it. It's funny when people tell me I'm unhittable, though, because then I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice being unhittable. It's kind of cool. But then when my shots don't hit it, it's tilting. On the Soul side, as we said, Justin with 36, Jared with 31 kills there on the bar was a huge piece of this puzzle too. 23 apiece for Cam and Brandon, 20 for Craig, 16 for Rye. And then on to the second half here, Axis side, they win by 2 do Soul, plus 5 on the kills. 4 Dice, another top frag half here for Alex, 29 for him. So that was 67 overall. I mean, that's what you get out of Element, right? He's gonna put up about 60 to 70 or 80 kills all the time. He's ridiculous. 26 for Kevin, 24 apiece for Matt and Johnny, 21 for Chris, 17 for Leo, and then Soul side of things, PB again, 37 kills on the sniper, 29 for Jared. Again, those were the big two here in both halves for Soul, pulling out the win. 25 for Craig, 24 for Brandon, 17 for Cam, 14 for Ryan. Huge win for Soul here, and having the chance to now repeat that against us this week on Harrington as well, getting themselves into shape going into the playoffs here, and it is just a massive time to do it for Soul. Looking at the standings now, in the gold side of things, you can see G-Skill and Thunder at 5-1. G-Skill has the tiebreaker on us from that Anzio game. Icy now at 4-2. Dice at 2-4. Soul at 2-4. Over. It's just insane that team is 0-6 right now, but I assure you that will be irrelevant come playoff time. I don't think that there is any way, even if they were to lose the rest of the regular season, that they won't be an absolute horrific pain in the ass to beat in the playoffs. Every best of three that I've ever seen or played in with these guys, the whole time, it just seems like they're going to win. They're so hard to beat in best of threes. That's what really matters, right? The regular season, it's nice. It's basically a big warm-up, though, for when the best of threes come through. The seeding and everything is one thing. I guess in gold this season, there's probably going to be 2 buys, so that will come into play as well. But yeah, do not sleep on this team's record. If you do so at your own peril, because that is not a team you want to play in a best of 3. And the fact that they could be the bottom seed is really bad for whoever ends up in the top seed, because then if they were to win in the first round of playoffs, you get the bottom seed as the top seed, and then you end up having to play against Over in a best of 3. Here's your prize. Have fun. It's just a nightmare. No pun intended. What? Huh? What about them? Oh, go ahead. Interrupting the fucking Dodcast. Unbelievable. She's over here telling me I'm using your earbuds as if you need permission. It's your house. Unbelievable, these French. We're so polite, we ask for permission to use headphones. Oh, je suis, me nous. Okay, let's predict games now. How far along are we? It's probably already so long. It's 41 minutes. That's not too bad. I just need to do these predictions in a timely manner. I can't talk too much because it's already about to be midnight. I'm trying to keep my voice down as much as I can. But yeah, let's do it relatively quickly at least. All right. Hi, buddy. You want to be in the Dodcast? Oui. Step in, Minu. Very good. Look at this Bengal. Are you a camera, Minu? Oui. Very good. This cat demands pets, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. If he demands pets, you're going to give them to him, or else he's going to go, oh. He's going to act like he's being murdered. Okay, so let's start it off here. Bronze side of things, Wickeds versus... I rest my case. In case that didn't just come through. I hope it did, so everybody heard that it literally was just what I was making fun of. He went, unreal, this Minu. Okay, so, rifle nades, they were missing some guys last week. I'm just going to go based off of, the main starting 6, but Arachnid, Azilla, Firo, definitely, Chrono, definitely, Pipes. I feel like Pipes just played himself into a starting spot potentially there with how well he played in that last game, so I'm just going to assume he's playing. And then, we've seen Boom, we've seen Celts. Steve is on here now. Was he the Steve from Ninja? It looks like it, so we could potentially see Steve in there too. Henry we've seen get in there. We just saw Virus get in there. Lots of options on that side. For the Wickeds, now that Barinia and Zaps, I believe, are both available, hypothetically, you might have Jiraiya, Bullet, Ryan, AZ, Zaps, and Barinia. There's always the option for all these other guys, Jiraiya Jr., Leto, Lucho. Lots of good options there for the Wickeds. Harrington, mid is the name of the game on Harrington, obviously. Arachnid and Azilla are going to be the mid team, I'm sure here, or at least I'm mostly sure here. I guess it could be like Firo potentially. That's a steep hill to climb. for the Wicked side of things. You're going to need big guns going middle here. At least on allies, probably both Zaps and Barinia. Bullet's going to be doing the right things over on Mountain. He's going to be working caps as well. Jiraiya has been a really reliable sniper. Arachnid is just an insane sniper too, though. I maintain that the more we get to see the Wickeds playing with their absolute best six, the better and better we're going to see them get. It hasn't even been a possibility for this whole season up to this point because guys weren't able to play. Barini was missing for a few weeks. Zaps was missing for a few weeks. But the team has so much potential that I just want to see them be able to live up to. I think they got one step in the right direction. Now, hopefully they can take another one here. Rifle Nades is just such a good team. And obviously, as the Source guys play 1.3 more and more, they're just going to get better and better. A guy like Chrono, who was a 1.3 player as well, getting further and further back into the swing of things, all the more important. And then, with the anchor of Arachnid and Azilla, who are just always, what you're going to get out of them. They're consistently going to be up there at the top of the scoreboard for Rifle Nades. And on a map like this, where you could see both of them in middle, that's just going to be too much to overcome, I think, for the Wicked side. They are generally good at this map. So I think that this will be a closer game. But you got to favor Rifle Nades here. Even outside of Arachnid and Azilla, the guys you're going to have on the other routes, like if Pipes is about to put up another 60, 65 kill game going long or something, that's going to be tough. Firo as well has been lights out. And then, Chrono has been one of the best heavies we've seen during this season, and he's only improving and getting the minutia of the game back into his muscle memory. So you go with Rifle Nades here, but, the Wickeds could easily have 3 wins this season right now. It sucks that they're stuck at the 1 as it stands, but that team could easily have 3 wins and be right in the thick of it, and I think they're very, very capable of doing so. This is just a tough draw in general, Rifle Nades is a scary, scary team. And, on Harrington in particular, I feel like they'd match up really well with just about anybody here. Next up, what do we got here? Uncle Rico's Time Machine versus La Rodeo. So, for Rodeo, unclear lineup-wise most of the time. I'm guessing at bare minimum you're going to see, LASIK, CK, Meep probably on the rifles, E-Man on a heavy, and looks like probably Grunt on the other heavy, and Sir Snipey's on the sniper. I'm assuming that's going to be the 6. Wait, who did I say they were playing? Uncle Rico's Time Machine, right? Yeah. So this is who beat Rodeo besides No-Go as well. And then for Uncle Rico's Time Machine, Head Like a Hole on a sniper, Purdy on a third, G on a car, Ian Gilmore on a car, Cadaver and ST Kevin on the heavies, Zamp able to fill in on whatever they need. This is a tough draw for the Rodeo here. They really need to get back in the win column after losing to No-Go so they can keep themselves in the race at the top of bronze, and they draw a team that is going to be a nightmare to play on this map. Ian is outstanding on this map. Purdy is outstanding on this map. And Head Like a Hole sniping in mid is going to be a lot to deal with. You get Cadaver over on the heavies now too, playing his class, going his familiar routes. G will have no problem getting up to the swing of things on the rifle. And then after all that, you get ST Kevin, who's just pretty much guaranteed to get about 70 kills every time he plays. Whereas on the Rodeo side, the lineup is a bit more in flux. They're going to have to deploy a completely different lineup come playoff time. I don't think they're going to start integrating that in the regular season. They're just going to wait to do it until those guys are unavailable to play. But for the playoffs, they're going to need to be ready and getting shit done now. Otherwise, they're going to be in a much worse place come the playoff time. They need to really try to hang on to, at worst, that number 2 spot, stay in the mix at number 1. You don't want to end up with a really, really tough first-round playoff matchup in this situation, in this fucking shark-infested water of bronze. But this is just a tough draw. I mean, CK is going to get his, right? It's middle on Harrington. He's going to get 1 billion nade kills. He's going to have 80 kills. He might have 50 deaths, but he's definitely going to have 80 kills. They're going to need Mountainside to really be a strength here for them to help alleviate some pressure elsewhere, because Ian is going to be really, really a pain in the ass in mid. This is a guy who knows how to fucking rifle mid going all the way back, and he will be able to deal with CK plenty. CK again will get his, but it's not going to be so simple going up against the guys that they have to go up against this week. So I think they got to rely on the extremities to be able to alleviate pressure in mid and work that into overall map control. You can't just rely on the mid team to do it all, and then the extremities are able to figure it out. It's going to need to be in the opposite direction on Axis in particular. That's really the way it's got to get done. Because if you don't have mountain control when you're on Axis, then you're not going to get mid because they're going to break it from ladder. They're going to break it with nades over the top. They're going to have a guy coming out upper connector. They're going to be nading it from double doors. You need control of the other things too. Preferably you can time it where it's like we have the 2, we have the 1, we're working for mid now, we have double doors cut off, things like that. Just because we all know how nady Harrington is, right, Milo? He agrees. I'm going with Uncle Rico's Time Machine here. I think that is a really tough team. Sorry, I picks them how I picks them. I picks them how I picks them. See, it'll motivate CK. This, if nothing else, CK will be very disappointed that I picked against him on Harrington, but Uncle Rico's Time Machine is no joke. They already got the win over Rodeo earlier in the season on Railyard, and I think this is a better map for them than Railyard even was. And it's also, 4 weeks later where Ian and Purdy and Cadaver have all had an extra 4 weeks to get even more back into the game here. So not the best draw here for Rodeo at a time where they're coming off a loss. It's certainly going to be a close game. It could go either way in that regard, but I look at the lineup on Uncle Rico's Time Machine, and the players that they've got individually on this map are going to be strong, guaranteed. Rodeo's just going to have to come in and play as a team. You know that there's guys who are going to go out and get the kill totals, but they're going to need the support players to also be doing their job as well as humanly possible here, because Uncle Rico's Time Machine support players will be doing that. They are all old school players who understand their role, whether they're the guy going out and getting 70 kills or the guy who needs to be not just running straight forward and holding on to the space they got, creating the space, being ready to break, ninjing in those moments, not just running out like a wild animal, stuff like that. There's a lot of little things that come into play that make DoD a lot more complicated than it might appear on the surface. So Uncle Rico's Time Machine has the guys who understand that unquestionably. And it'll be a matter of if Rodeo can pull it together this week in this tough matchup and keep themselves afloat at the top of the division. Last but not least, we got, whoa, that's not where I want to be. What am I doing? We've got No-Go versus the Ninja. This is an interesting one, to be honest with you here. I think a few weeks ago, you'd have been like, well, obviously No-Go's going to win fucking easy, right, Milo? That's what Milo just said. I didn't say that. But in this case, the Ninja, with a very different looking lineup now. They're getting Illusion in there regularly. They've got Low Carb in the mix, another guy who's been playing forever and understands how to win at this level. They've got Raven in the mix now, who you got him sniping mid. He's going to be a nightmare for them. And then you got the Van Scap guys back around who are getting hours in, getting back into the swing of things. You got John there who's able to, I'm assuming that Miller will be playing semi-regularly, right? So if you got a team of like Miller, Illusion, Low Carb, Raven, and any two of the Van Scap guys, or Woody or Verb, like that is a much scarier lineup here. The No-Go lineup is scary as fuck too, especially with Bosch in the mix now. This lineup is a little bit more up in the air every week. Blue Revolver played and sniped last week. Normally he's been heavying. Three-sided quarter generally been sniping, but last week he heavied. Kush usually playing, wasn't able to play in his game last week. Greg, when he's playing, is obviously heavying. Jamie has played just about every class. Coy on the third rifle when he's there. Deidro can play any class as well. And then, Matthew, solid, always capable of stepping in to do anything. I don't know, man, in this game. With the Ninja, you're going to obviously have Raven in middle. Whoever's going middle with Raven needs to be on top of their shit because Raven will get the mid-team wipes over and over again, but you need to have a guy who's there and able to know what they need to do to secure the mid-cap from there and then where they need to go after and play support on the rest of the map. I don't know, do you have Illusion go mid here? He's generally a long player. He does his thing on long, but in this day and age, I feel like a lot of times when you have your big fragger, you kind of need them in mid putting that work in. I know it's also valuable to get pushed up to the plateau, get pushed up to the arch, and get kills there. But even if you do, guys can slip by to break stuff. There's no cutting off mid caps. You can only have so much impact on the mid cap as the long player. So I don't know. That might be an idea for the Ninja here. As a way to give themselves even more of a chance to win this thing. I think they could easily win this. I'm not going to pick them to win it because No-Go's been so good, but like I think that no matter what happens, this is going to be a close game. I do not see anybody in the rest of the season walking all over Ninja anymore. That team has too much skill and experience on it now, especially if they can put their best six out there. And I think this will be sort of the coming out party for them in that regard. They just had a really close game last week. Obviously, Kush was ringing for them, so not exactly. Wait, no, he was ringing for. Was he ringing for them? I forget who he was ringing for now. He was ringing for one of the two teams in that game. No, he was ringing for the other team. He was ringing for Rifle Nades. But they had, again, the Ninja with a very close game against a super tough Rifle Nades team that had Kush ringing for them there. I suspect that this match will be very, very close, and the Ninja absolutely can win this game. It would not surprise me at all for them to win this game. No-Go is the team to beat in bronze, and, this is a game that you can look at it on the schedule and be a little bit inclined to just be like, well, they haven't won a game yet, so it's going to be no problem. But this would be the worst time for No-Go to do that against this team with where they're at right now, having made the roster moves they did, looking good last week. This is when they need to be more prepared than ever for dealing with the Ninja. Otherwise, the Ninja will win this game. They have so many good players and guys who understand how to win, guys who can just frag out, guys who understand how to play off of the other guys that are doing the fragging out. They are more dangerous than ever. I'm picking No-Go by like 15 here. I think it's going to be very close in either direction. And, I'd say I'm like 65% sure on that, like it's not a guarantee that they're going to win this game at all. No shot that you could say you guarantee a No-Go win against this Ninja team, because that Ninja team, you do not want to see them on a map like Harrington. No fucking way. Too much scariness there. All right, now on to the biggest of the divisions. Clan X gets the bye this week, so they will now have games getting caught up on them on the Band of Morons side of thing. What do we got here? GVMH Band of Morons, Clinic Revived, Price is Right Volvo, and Best Buds Emo Frag Squad. So probably Clinic Revived for the match of the week here, I would say, or GVMH Band of Morons, one of the two. Every week there's been two matches of the week in Silver, basically, so let's just say that's the case again. So Best Buds versus the Emo Frag Squad here. For Emo Frag Squad, it's going to be Steve, Matt Rogers, J-Rod, Ian, Sapphire, and Spec Ops making his debut in the lineup this week. No Apple. He would have only been able to play if it was at 7 Eastern. I offered a ring for Emo Frag Squad, and they said I'm a scrub and they don't want me to play, so I guess I'll just have to watch. Unbelievable. But the Best Bud side of things, if they're going back to the lineup they were using before, you got Hopper, War Within, the Brom Bomb, Piff, Reptar, and Nicholson Eats Ass. That's the lineup that they started off the season with for the first 4 games. They had a little bit different lineup last week, but they told me that was just for the one match, so I'm assuming they go back to that lineup this week. This is a better situation for Emo Frag Squad because it's a map like Harrington where everybody's played it a million times. Even if they've not been active recently, it's not like they have to get used to playing Harrington, right? Everyone knows Harrington like in the back of their hand. So that's a good thing for Emo Frag Squad. They're trying to piece the puzzle together on classes and routes and everything like that. I think the Steve and Ian swap was a pretty good idea. We'll see how it goes going forward, right? But I've liked what I've seen out of Ian there. I think Grant getting in the lineup is going to be a helpful thing for Emo Frag Squad. You know what Spec Ops brings to the table. He's a veteran. He's going to play smart. He's going to play ratty. He's going to frustrate you as well, which is that's a skill in this game. But you might not think of it as such, but mental is an aspect and a big aspect in DoD. And if you've got a guy who can frustrate the other team a little bit and make them maybe push a little bit harder next time, maybe look to get a little bit more flashy kill on the guy because he shot him in the back or prone killed him, that can be a factor. Best Buds understand that as well or better than anybody, though. I don't think it's going to be that likely to come into play with them. You got to take Best Buds to win this game. Get back on the winning track after a couple of tough weeks, but you definitely can't take Emo lightly on this map. They're all good Harrington players. The heavy side of the map is going to be in good hands with Modgers and Grant here. J-Rod will go on a tear wherever he is. This is definitely a better scenario for Emo to be able to come out on top. It's just, Best Buds is still one of the best teams in Silver here. I think they find a way to pull it out, even if Emo Frag Squad is on their absolute shit here. But, this is one where it's like, 75%, 80% in that area. Best Buds should win. But Emo Frag Squad on this map, I think this will be a strong map for them overall when all is said and done in their map pool. I think it's just a map that'll make a lot more sense to them as a unit compared to something like Rail Yard or the new Solitude or Armory, maps that, some of the players on Emo would have not even ever played in a match before that week, Harrington bodes well for Emo Frag Squad, but still a tough draw to get Best Buds here. Best Buds. Next up, we've got Price is Right versus Volvo, so we know this match is delayed. However, we're going to talk about it anyways, because that's the way we do things here. On the Volvo side, again, they made a great pickup here with Pizza Hut. We'll see if he gets to play all that often. I assume definitely would play if they're missing somebody. But Volvo, tight-knit group, it's been the same 6 guys. They only had 6 players to start this season, so you assume if those 6 are there, they're going to be playing Scotty, Yanni, Manor, Toki, Kingyo, Wua. But having Pizza Hut to put in that lineup at any point in time is really, really big, man. He's a fucking hell of a player. On the Price is Right side, where did they go? There they are. So Tony, Caleb, Corey, Pibian, Riv, Leo, Soya, those have been the main 7 there. Trance has gotten in, Hip has gotten in, Pollock's definitely not getting in there. We'll see what the lineup ends up being. Again, that won't be getting played this week, so I'm sure I'll get some kind of a heads up about it here. But for Price is Right, this is a Harrington team. These guys are all good at Harrington. Leo's good at Harrington. Corey Price is good at Harrington. Pibian's good at Harrington. Tony's good at Harrington. Riv is good at Harrington. Soy is good at Harrington. They're just a fucking Harrington team. Now, Volvo are all really good at Harrington too, but the guys on Price is Right, I've seen all of them single-handedly win games on Harrington multiple times. How many clips are there on Twitch of me screaming about Riv or Corey or Leo or Pibian going off in insane runs on Harrington? Probably a couple dozen. It's a tough draw for Volvo here, getting Price is Right on this map in particular. Toki up against Pibian, or I guess potentially Soya, or even Trance if all else fails in mid is a fun mid matchup. Kingyo is going to be a nade demon here. Scotty and Manor on the reverse classes have been great this season. I've been super impressed by both of them playing on a new class and looking like this is not a problem at all. But Price is Right, still one of the favorites to be going to the finals, or at very least the semifinals here. You got to take Price is Right. I think on a map like this, Volvo can play them close. But, man, Price is Right is just so stacked on this map in particular. I would maybe pick Price is Right against everyone else in the Silver Division on this map, I think, to be honest. I don't know if there's another map that I would say that for sure, but definitely Harrington. They are a Harrington team. So you go with Price is Right here, but so many good players on Volvo and so much experience on this map playing together. You never know, man. Harrington, you just ask me. It's a cursed map and weird shit happens on it all the time. So never say never. Next up, we've got the 2 matches of the week. So first off, Clinic versus Revived. Clinic, obviously always a little bit of a revolving door of a lineup. Tom, Candy, Insam, Vic. Carpenter never plays anymore, which is sad. I saw him playing Counter-Strike last week, though, and I was very emo about that, because I was like, he's got time to play Counter-Strike, but not come let me cast him in DOD? What the heck, Carp? What the heck? Very sad. Alan, Debo, Walter, Scott. We haven't really seen Chris get to play, but pretty much everyone but Chris and Carpenter is fair game at any point in time for them. And then on the Revive side, MP on a sniper, Super on a heavy, SQ on a car, Fincher on a heavy, Manga on a third, Anna on a car. I believe that's their main 6, but they've got some great backups in Coffee, in Svelty, and Lucky. Do they deploy Coffee this week? I imagine if they're missing somebody, they can. It's certainly a map that Coffee can do his thing on going long. But I think that that's probably going to be more of a on these particular maps or if someone's missing scenario. This is a tough one, man. Revived are looking revived. They looked great last week, and that is a stacked fucking team. Like that game last week, they looked like you would expect them to look with how much talent they've got on that lineup. Tom and Empy as a sniper battle is a lot of fun in mid. The heavy battle is interesting. For Clinic, does Debo play? Because obviously always when Debo is there, it's a totally, like, he just brings so much extra frag power to the mix to go with all that chemistry that Clinic has as the longest running team in the game besides Thunder. Well, technically tied. Really, Clinic is more long running because Thunder has also not played multiple seasons. Clinic has played every season. So technically the longest running team in the game. But yeah, this is a tough one, man. I don't know. There's definitely questions on what the lineup is for Clinic. If I knew that, I could maybe say a little bit more accurately exactly what I felt. I think this is a barn burner of a game. This is one that I really, really want to get to cast because I think that it will be explosive no matter what happens. You're going to see a bunch of clips by all 12 players in this game here. You know, I never really pick against Clinic, and I'm not going to now. I'm going to pick Clinic, but this is one where it's like 55% sure. You know, I'm not saying like definitely Clinic's going to win. This game easily could be won by Revive. There's a lot of scary boys on that Revive team and a scary girl in Anna. She has been playing out of her mind this season. She's probably averaging about 60 kills per game. Week in and week out, she's putting up big numbers. Revived look poised for a deep playoff run here. And if they can come out and beat Clinic, that would be about as big a statement as you can make, to be honest. And it is far from out of the question. You know, with Clinic, it's just a matter on how likely it is they win is what's the lineup looking like? You know, is everybody there? Are they missing guys or guys having to play off class and stuff? I think no matter what, though, this is going to be a tight one, and it will come down to the wire. It will probably come down to who can just give up less caps on their Axis side, who can defend better when their backs are against the wall, because that will happen. It's inevitable on Axis side, Harrington. You know Clinic is going to understand what to do as a team in those situations. Revived is going to have to be able to do the same, because just one extra cap is enough to win, right? Like, it really comes down to having the strongest possible allied side, and not just for control, but being able to break through. Those are the strongest Harrington teams, are the teams that can fight back from being on their last flag on the Axis side and turn it back around, rather than just like, well, we held for 5 minutes. That was cool, but we still gave up like 4 caps this half. You know, the T3s, the Icy Hots, the G Skills, those are the teams that really can manage to hold off, not give up more than a cap or so on their Axis side, and end up playing for a bit more of a split overall. So that's going to be the question. Who can do that better in this game? I'm going with Clinic because I always pick for Clinic, you know? So yeah, last match of the week here on the silver side. It's another fun one. Band of Morons versus Game Violation Multi-Hack. Band of Morons, I just have no idea what their line. They have so many lineups that are insane. Speaking of which, insane. I don't think Ben is going to play, because I'm usually told when Ben is supposed to play. But Cody, Darren, you could see Casino, Fetty, Crawd should be there, James should be there, Miles should be there, Paul can always get in there. Doesn't matter. They're all insane players. Most of them can play any fucking class. Like, it really doesn't matter who's there for Band of Morons. They will be insane. And then for Game Violation Multi-Hack, Raleigh, No Name, Hooli, Aki, Pijisku, Sango. They've got Knock and they've got Viper as options if anyone's missing. We saw, I mean, you know, the biggest story with GVMH is obviously always their big 3 players, Raleigh, No Name, and Hooli. They're going to get theirs. But the more you see the development out of Pijisku and out of Aki and out of Sango, you really start to see what the ceiling is for this team. They are a very, very scary team. And Band of Morons cannot take them lightly this week. Because especially on this map, Raleigh, No Name, and Hooli, I guarantee you, are going to have 70+ kills. And now, hypothetically, I mean, No Name usually a mid player, right? So No Name and Hooli probably both going mid. Raleigh, Do you send him Mountain with a car, hypothetically, and then, send him as a third guy mid on allies, maybe? I don't know. Or send him long. Or do you have Sango solo long? This is, lots of questions here. Pijisku on Mountain, though, is turning into another bona fide stud of a player. He's going to have his hands full this week, though. Crod and whoever else is heavying for them, whether it's Pro Star, Baron, Insight, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a fucking good heavy. That's really the thing with Band of Morons is they just have so many good players. You are never getting a break on any route. The GVMH guys are all going to be very good at this map for sure. And I think that they can definitely win this game. But Band of Morons now is smelling blood in the water. They had the tough first game against Price is Right when Leo had like 197 kills. Some tough luck for them there. But since then, they've been flawless. They continue to show that they are one of the absolute premier teams. I suspect they will win this game just because they're so good everywhere, right? But, I mean, this is a map where those three guys on GVMH can absolutely take over the game and just make it impossible for the other team to win. Trust me. Like, I promise you, they are very capable of doing that on this map. I speak from personal experience. And if all three of them are playing at their absolute peak, a car like No Name in mid or a sniper like Hooli in mid can turn the tide and just make it miserable for both your mid team and your mountain team. You're trying to push by ladder. You're trying to push up mountain steps. You're getting picked by a sniper from mid house, picked by a car from mid house. Your sniper can never get into mid house on allies because he's getting owned. Things like this can happen with these guys on GVMH. And then the added wrinkle of how well Pijisku has played all throughout the season. They're getting to that point now where they're going to be able to beat anybody on any map. It's just a matter of time. I assume by the playoffs it'll be there. This is a tough fucking draw for them, though. There's a lot of other teams that I would be saying, yeah, GVMH wins this game probably. But Band of Morons, the Price is Right. Those kinds of teams that are just so stacked to the tits with players that are insane on this map. You got 3 definitely insane players on GVMH on Harrington, but you might have 6 on Band of Morons here. So they're going to need a lot out of everybody on this map to really be able to win. Definitely got to lean Band of Morons here, but let me tell you, man, if GVMH came out and win this game, that is a statement win, and that immediately catapults them into the conversation to win this season. If they can beat a team like Band of Morons on Harrington, what more can you ask out of a team? That is pretty much the team to beat right now, along with Clan X in silver. So, a chance to make, hi Milo, what's up? Do you want to come back on the camera? That's what he said. But yeah, chance to make a big statement here. I think Band of Morons will be able to pull it out, but I suspect GVMH will make it very interesting, as they always do. This team is always in the game. There's just so fucking much skill there that they are never out of it. But yeah, that's another one that I really want to see live and get to cast. I imagine if I don't get to cast it, it'll probably get recorded. I feel like the Band of Morons guys are pretty good about recording, but hopefully I'll get to do it live tomorrow. All right. Last but not least, we have the Gold Division, which does have a delayed game, the biggest game of the week here, huh? Yes, the Gold Division. It's at 1 hour and 10 minutes right now. So I'm gonna break the hour 20-minute mark here. This is a record for KTP Season 8. All right, first off, Thunder versus Soul. This is obviously my game. For Thunder, it'll be Tox, Jagon, Jules, Dorito, Ryan Emo, John Gale. For Soul, last week it was the Bear, Craig, Brandon, Jared, Justin, and Ryan. You can always see, obviously, Jordan in there. You can always see Shreddies in there. Austin, probably not. Luke, I don't think so. But good luck, have fun to Soul this week. It'll be interesting to see what the lineup is. Is PB going to snipe again this week? I mean, they won with that lineup last week, so that's definitely a question mark hanging over the game, but we'll see what happens. I suspect this will be a very fucking stressful game. It always is with this team, and it always is for my team on Harrington. So this is not a good mix for Thunder this week. This is a potential very problematic game for Thunder, and potentially 2 huge back-to-back wins for Soul here. So good luck, have fun, Soul. We play Monday night, so that one, I get to cast whatever I want tomorrow, basically. Next up, we've got another huge game here, Over versus Dice. So for Dice, Again, just assuming it's their main six: Kevin, Matt, Paul, Alex, Johnny, Chris. And then for over, assuming it's their main six: Kum, Devin, Caffrey, Saka, SC, Nightmare. And then they've got a lot of good players that can jump in there. You know, we saw Mana last week. Obviously, if Nick's around and they're missing a sniper is always an option. Jizz. And then maybe Colin, which again, I maintain might be the perfect guy to put in that lineup. The fact that this is Harrington makes this more interesting than ever to me. Over is a really good Harrington team. This is one of their maps, one of those maps that any team can lose to Over on any week, legitimately. You know, this, Anzio, Lennon in particular, those three maps, it's like you don't want to play Over on these three maps. Armory is up there too. Definitely depends on lineup, right? Every guy they're missing, it makes it a little bit less likely. On the dice side, I mean, you're having to deal with Kevin in mid, fucking nightmare. And then fucking Chris and Paul on mountain just steamrolling all over the place. Johnny on long, Matt going mid/long as well. Just so much talent there. For Over, you know, like on this map, mostly they got to play their game. But again, like situations where they have mid, they lose a couple guys, they just got to stop and think for a second. If you just lost 3 guys and you have mid control, you don't need another 2 or 3 guys to go run and potentially die. Hey, you might kill the whole team and it'd be heroic, but more often than not, you're going to run into 3 or 4 guys and you're only going to get 2 or 3 of them. Over could very definitely win this game. I'm picking Dice. I think Dice gets back on track this week after a few tough games in a row where they've been missing guys for all of them. You know, there was the ICOT game, the game against us, and the game against Seoul. They've been missing at least one guy for all those games. But yeah, I don't know when Chris said he's getting his internet fixed. So this is possibly still a laggy game for Chris. I think it was next week it was going to be fixed by. So definitely a little bit of a factor there as well. But this is, I think, a game that comes down to single digits. You know, I don't know if Dice love Harrington. I have not seen Dice play Harrington a lot, to be honest. Like when I think of Dice, I think of just about every other map. I've barely seen them play much Harrington, so I don't have a lot of insight on like what goes on with them on it, but they're all really good fucking Harrington players. That's kind of all you need to know, right? To be able to say Dice to win this game. But you cannot take Over. Again, every week you cannot take Over lightly just because of their record, because that record is so irrelevant. It's just so irrelevant, you know. And I don't think anybody doesn't know that. I guarantee you everybody in gold recognizes that Over is still absolutely a nightmare to play against, and comes prepared week in and week out for that nightmare, and Nightmare himself. But yeah, I go with Dice here. You know, I say like 60-40 because it's Harrington and Over. If Over has their best 6 especially, like they are very tough to deal with on this map, and their Axis side in particular. I don't know what it is with Over, bless you, and their Axis side's always being particularly strong, but you know, that can be the difference maker on a map like this. That one extra cap that a team gives up on their Axis side can really blow it out of the water there when the game is all done and finished. But I say Dice here by like 8. But again, this is one that can go either way without question. It is going to just come down to the lineups for both teams and who's on their shit, because a map like Harrington, you never know what's going to happen, as I have found out the hard way far, far too many times personally. And then last up, the match of the week, the match of the season, ICOT versus G-Skill. It's not getting played this week, which is good because it would probably be getting played like at the same time as my match or something. So that's always better when it's more of a chance for me to cast it. For the ICOT side, the main 6, Jesse, William, Sean, Justin, Benjamin, and G. And then for G-Skill, Taylor, Milo, Andrew, Chuck, Franker, and Colin. I mean, this is the one, right? This is the big one that everybody wants to see. ICOT versus G-Skill. We saw it on Railyard. It was a fucking fun game. ICOT pulled it out in a very, very close game. It was right down to the wire. G-Skill were threatening to cap out and win it. These are the 2 premier teams in the game, and it's on Harrington, a map that they both really like and are really good at. This is kind of the dream matchup as far as a caster goes. If you're going to get ICOT and G-Skill, that's amazing right off the bat. But then if you're going to get it on Harrington, now we're double talking here, because they are both elite Harrington teams. slightly different strategies on what makes them so strong on the map in particular. But this is a fucking hell of a game, man. And another one that could go either way. I never pick against G-Skill, so I'm not going to pick against G-Skill. Like, I don't. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. I'm not going to pick against G-Skill. But this is one where, hey, I picked for G-Skill in the previous game, and they lost to Icy Hot. Icy Hot has the momentum on their side right now, having won that game on Rail Yard. I think G-Skill will be very pleased that it's Harrington here. Maybe their best map. Certainly, I would say the hardest map to play them on. They're just so good on this map. They understand every single little aspect of the game on this map. Just so subconsciously. The timings, the rotations, the nades, everything. These are guys like you don't see. There's not a lot of players in the game on mid on Harrington when you're on Allied side and you're capping. There's very few who you're like, it's about to get broken from Mountain. But with G-Skill, it's about to get broken from Mountain. Unless you know for a fact that all the nades have been thrown from Long and Mountain, odds are it's about to get broken. It's just inevitable. There's a lot of guys that are good at throwing those nades, but they will still miss them like 1 out of 10 times. These guys ain't missing those nades. Let me tell you. I've, again, learned that the hard way over many, many, many years of playing them on Harrington. This is, I don't know, man. This is a coin flip of a game here, really. It could go either way. I mean, I'm picking G-Skill, but like when it comes down to it, this is the best possible matchup you can see, with it being Harrington, G-Skill versus Icy Hot. I assume the reschedule is because they're not going to both have their starting 6 this week, and this is not a game either team should have to play missing a guy, right? Like, you really want to do your best to have both teams get their starting 6 for this. This is a game I will be casting. You better fucking believe I will be casting, and I don't care. Because yeah, this is the exact matchup. Like, this is you really want to see if these two teams are playing it be on Harrington. There are other maps that it's like, oh, that's cool, right? But Harrington is the one. Could not have. I mean, I guess the next closest one would maybe be Armory. G-Skill versus Icy on Armory. They're both really strong on Armory. After that, I think every other map, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's G-Skill Icy Hot, so it's still the best possible matchup. But those are the two maps, and this one in particular, that you most want to see these teams play each other on. So it's very, very exciting. It's unfortunate that this is the last matchup between them until what would have to be a playoff game, because I really look forward to the G-Skill Icy Hot matchup all the time. It's just such a fun, like, just every individual piece, all the routes matching up with each other. It's so fun for me to be able to watch and cast, obviously, and I have no doubt that this one will be as well. I think that this one will come down to within a cap out either way, and I suspect I will call ahead of time that this will be an all-timer of a game that we will be talking about as like the match of the season, probably. That's just, I mean, again, mental is an aspect always, right? Like, you don't want to get too hyped up as the guys in the game. We can get hyped up about it, but certainly the mental side of things is always a factor, especially at that level. But I have no doubt that all 12 players are going to be very, very sharp for this game, be inside themselves, not overthinking it, not overstressing, and will put on a show for what I suspect will be however many players are in the DoD community. That will be how many people are watching it, because this is the game right here. G-Skill versus Icy Hot. It doesn't get bigger than this, and I can't wait to see how this thing plays out. But I'm picking G-Skill because I said before the season I'm never going to pick against G-Skill or Clinic. So even though now G-Skill lost to Icy Hot, so maybe I should, I'm not gonna, because it's G-Skill. I just look back, there's nobody there but a cat. So, and now the fucking computer just went to sleep on me. What is this? Because I went on such a rant about G-Skill versus Icy Hot. Oh, I didn't break the hour 20-minute mark. Fuck me, man. All right, I can't wait to go to sleep. I'm so tired. I cannot stress enough how exhausting it is. When I make this trip, it takes me like a full week just to get back to like baseline. And in this case, it was make the trip right after I just made the trip last week, and then also go and, be at a birthday party for like 8 hours. So I am so dead right now. I'm going to be dead tomorrow too. Hopefully, we don't have to play, so it's fine. Casting, I can be dead for. You don't need to be alive to cast well. You just need to be zombified at minimum. All right, I did it as timely as I could. I'm sorry if it seemed like I rushed a little bit, but it is 12:30 a.m. here now, and that's Quebec's fault. So any problems, we need to send them to Quebec. Not the Minus, though. The cats are good. We Milo, we Min, good cats. Mwah. See you guys tomorrow. Get ready for some fucking action on Harrington here, boys. Thank you, Chris, for making a 6 Solitude Frag of the Week. Don't forget to submit to the Frag of the Week next week. Probably, I assume, War Within is going to be making it. So submit to War Within or I'll fucking... Ooh, I'll... Yeah.